Yeah, I think this game is all about promotion, and when you can get one of your own staff members promoted to an elevated position, and it happens to be outside your organization, you're super excited for him. So we're going to miss Pipe. It's a well-deserved opportunity for him to go be the bench coach of the Marlins, and we went external. We brought in Rolando Valles, who was with the Cincinnati Reds. He has a pitching background. He was more kind of centered towards the hitting side of things with the Reds. Had a lot of good concepts that he learned and picked up, but he's a pitcher at heart, and he's going to be part of our run prevention team inside of our clubhouse. So we feel like he's a great addition, and he's going to step right in and hopefully have a seamless transition.
He won't have the same flavor as Pipe.
He will not. Correct. We have a lot of we have some moving parts that are going to be that will be going on through the course of our camp, and we're still discussing exactly what we're going to be doing. Pipe played an important role. He was a game planner for our upcoming series, and he was also a liaison to help, especially the Latin American players, integrate into the system, the big league system. But Pipe. We know Pipe. He's very dynamic. He related to everybody. So we have yet to fill certain roles and certain gaps that we have inside of our clubhouse. We're presently discussing that, and we'll get it done. We're not going to miss a beat. We feel like we have some really good candidates to step in and do the things that Pipe did. He had a lot of responsibilities and wore a lot of different hats. Rolando, let me get the perfect spelling for the last name. I think it's Valles.
Okay.
Just make sure of that. Yeah, Valles, 2 L's.
What are some of the other roles that you need to replace? Bringing back the rest of the
Correct. Pipe also was responsible for putting together the spring training schedule, which is a huge responsibility. So we have to fill that role for the 8 weeks of camp. Alex Coltis has transitioned out of the seat that he was in the run prevention, being the run prevention coordinator. So into more of a dynamic role that's going to help his career progress. So Sharif Othman will step into his role as the run prevention coordinator. So we have a few things that we're changing, but the people that have left and moved on have left a really good template that's firmly in place, and all people need to do is step into that situation, continue to run it, and then sprinkle their own personality on it. It's going to get better. How you doing?
What did you make of the
Yeah.
What did you make from afar within the division with the Padres playoff?
Yeah, I thought it was an unbelievable run by them. Not surprised. First of all, Bomel getting on board and being the leader of that team. Anything that he does to push the organization to the next level is not surprising to me at all. And the players that they had and the acquisitions that they made, they were fantastic. AJ did a great job of bringing in the right guys, and we're in a pretty challenging division, and they unseated the LA Dodgers, and I think it was a great story for that organization. I know that they fell short of their expectation, and it's a process, and I think they're on the right page.
And then I guess between what the Giants did the previous year, and
Yeah.
the Padres, obviously the Dodgers, and with what you guys and the Rockies are trying to do, what do
Yeah.
you make of? How do you assess the depth of the NL West?
Yeah, I think it's probably the most rugged division in all of baseball. And for I don't know, it seemed like for 24 months the best players were flooding the NL West. So we'll see what happens. We know what the landscape is. We know what we have to do to compete. We feel like we're right at that point right now where some of our young players that we've developed and taught our concepts to are ready to take the next step and make good things happen inside of our division.
Further to that, Torey, how do you feel about having only to play teams in the Division 12 times now instead of 19?
Yeah, I think it could be an advantage to us. The Dodgers and Padres' success has been very well documented, especially the Dodgers over the past 10 plus years. And I think I enjoy the diversity. I enjoy the idea of going into different stadiums and having it be as wide open as it is. And yeah, it could possibly help us out a little bit. But Major League Baseball teams are good. On a given night, anybody can beat anybody.
But when you're in a meat grinder division, as it were,
Yeah.
and you've been in a feud,
Yeah.
does it take some extra out of a team that maybe even goes to the next series after having played a tough divisional series?
Yeah, it can. It does remind me of the AL East many years ago, and I think it can have a positive and negative impact. I know when we win big series inside of our division, it carries us to the next level the next day. So it works both ways. Yeah, if you're talking about potentially two or three of the best teams in the NL. I know the Giants might have had a down year last year, but they're still a very good baseball team. Yeah, if you're playing them less, you're bound to have a little bit more of an opportunity, I feel.
Torey, speaking of the AL East, you were around a lot of really good young players in the Boston system, minors and majors. How does the core you have now coming up compare to that?
Yeah, definitely overlaps, 100%. It's the Xander Bogaerts, Mookie Betts, Jackie Bradley, Blake Swihart group of kids that eventually transition into being world champions. It is something that Amiel Sade, Derek Ladinier worked very hard to create, and those players now are taking it to the next level. And these kids have been raised in our system. They know what's important to me and the entire organization, and they're really good players. They're very good performers. And they've timed well. They like one another. They're out to breakfast, lunches, dinners. And some of the stories are overlapping with what I remember when I was talking to some of those younger Boston kids.
Are the talent levels at a specific age pretty similar? It might be a hard question to answer.
It is, but I'm going to be biased. I'm going to say yes. It's very similar. Very similar. And I want to be respectful of the kids that walked in Boston's into Boston's World Championships. I feel like we have that level of talent.
Right, it's hard to project that.
Correct.
You get a Betts and a Bogarts, but
Correct.
you saw those guys had.
Correct. It definitely overlaps. And it's not only the talent, but it's the mindset. It's the confidence. It's what they have from the neck up that impresses me as much as their physical ability.
How long would all the expect rule changes to happen?
The rule changes? Yeah, we're still trying to sort through that right now. I know that the pitch clock is going to potentially speed the game up. We feel like with our team speed, we're gonna be able to exploit some of the rules with throwing over to first base. But we haven't quite dug into that yet. We're having conversations about that right now, and how it plays out. I don't know. I think we need to read and react to how teams are going to attack us and push and go from there. As far as the defensive shifting, we want to create a very athletic infield and that can cover ground. And we're going to ask our guys to go out and I already have asked our guys to go out and prepare themselves from the waist down if you're an infielder, because you're going to have to go out and get the job done on a much bigger scale. So I think it's going to create a little bit more offense. There's going to be a lot more gaps in the defense. We're going to still plug holes the best way we can, but we're only going to do it with two guys.
When you said the waist down, did you visited Kittel in Dominican? Was that on the message? Have that
Trip was great. Trip was very, very enlightening for me. And it's the first time I went down and saw our academy. I was able to see how hard that group was working down there, and it's a different place and time for somebody that's never seen it. And once you see where these kids have come from in their homes and they make it to America to play and get to the big leagues, it's pretty special. It's pretty special for everybody. Probably more so the parents than the children. Specifically with Kittel, I spent an afternoon, half of a day with Kittel. It was great to see him. He looked very healthy. I watched him go out and work out. I didn't want him to take ground balls on the field that he was on, but I encouraged him with what I just got done saying. Like, we need to make sure that you're you're agile, strong, and making the movements left and right as good as anybody when you step into spring training. Doesn't necessarily mean pick up a baseball right now. It's mostly if you need to get on the beach and start to make your movements. We need you to get strong from the waist down was my defensive message. I could tell it's going to be ready to go. He's super excited. It was great to spend some quality time with him.
Do you think that couple of on strength, drive the ball like that?
Yeah. The data showed it. The data showed he wasn't covering as much ground. I think our eyes were telling us the same story, and I know that we've had questions. You guys have had questions about his defensive ability. It did change over the past couple of years, but I think he ended up getting a little bit more offensive, which was a nice trade-off in certain situations. But I think for us to win inches and do what I expect us to do defensively, we need to have every infielder, including Cattell, be as dynamic as possible with their left and right movements to cover that ground. The exact date was, I think it was it was in November. So, it was in November. Had a chance to visit with our international scouts. Had a barbecue with them. Junior Nebo was an unbelievable host. Got to go watch. I wanted to see Pavin, but I missed him by a day. Actually left that day. Got a chance to see Serge, Frias. Saw him at a game. Saw him play a game. Lisa against Aguilas. If you guys have never been there, you guys need to get down there. It is unbelievable. I went to Perdomo's home. Got a chance to spend some time with his mom. So it was a pretty enriching experience for me.
Have you had a chance, I assume you have, to talk to Kyle Lewis, perhaps any of the other new additions to the roster?
I have. I've talked to Kyle on the phone the day after we acquired him and just welcomed him aboard. And I know that he's really excited for this opportunity. I know that he's been battling some health issues, but when healthy, he's a very good player. So he said that he's ready to go. I know that he came to last week. He came into the facility and he met everybody. Unfortunately, I wasn't in town, but we're excited to bring a player of his talent into our culture.
Have you even started playing with any playing time grids, or not even
No.
letting yourself do it till the dust settles?
Definitely not. Yeah. There's so many balls in the air and so many things that could change between now and that time. But
Exciting.
yeah, got some good young players. Got some really good young players. We know who they are. Our front office is unbelievable at just continuing to bring in the talent level that they feel is necessary to help us win baseball games.
Hey, Torey, Zach from Yahoo. Going into year 2 with Brent Strom, is there any more way you see his influence spreading that maybe he couldn't do as fast in year 1, or that he's still working on going into this year?
Strami jumped in feet first and just got after it from the first day on board. And I think there's going to be a certain comfort level of him knowing the guys and being able to start teaching a little bit sooner. I think he's got a good feel for building credibility and just creating a little bit of an environment where there's some trust. So he'll hit the ground running again in spring training. Actually, he's already hit the ground running. He's working through the course of the off season. And everybody makes good and bad decisions during the course of a season. I think what you do is you reflect on the good and you want to enhance those. And the bad you want to learn from and keep moving on. So I haven't specifically talked to him anything that frustrated him, but I know he's on a search to get better every day. It's pretty amazing human being.
Mike's talked a lot about Strom working with power arms
Mm-hmm.
and getting them to reach greater consistency and command, as
Yeah.
opposed to trying to get guys that throw 92, 93 to go out and dominate.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts about how Brett might help?
Yeah, I know just in the course of conversations, in-game conversations with Strami, he felt like we were lacking power, and he wanted a little bit more power inside of our bullpen specifically. So he and I would have those conversations. Whether you can create extra velocity, or there are programs, and he's always talking about getting guys into programs to create velocity. He's a big top of the zone with your fastball, rip secondary stuff guy, and I think our front office has been addressing that. With the signing of Castro, we're continuing to look at guys in the trade for For Vargas, yeah. We're continuing to look for guys that can make mistakes in the zone and still get away with it. I still believe, Mike still believes, and I know Strami still believes in pitching and defense. That's what's going to help win championships. It's always there for you. But we played into the contact part of it a little bit too much, you know, and there's nothing wrong with somebody that can place the ball at 90, 91, 92. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you can choose the other side of it where there's a little bit of power behind it, it's going to give you a little more of an advantage.
Did you happen to catch Justin Martinez involved in the fall?
I did not. No, I did not. I didn't go to any fall league games, unfortunately. I was still decompressing.
Sorry, I'm curious, did you, I guess as far as the shift is concerned, the shift restrictions that are coming into play, it seems like being as heavily left-handed as you guys are, maybe you stand to benefit
Yeah.
more than some other teams offensively. I think that's maybe fair to say.
Yeah, I think so. I know it seems to... it seems the flooding of the right side of the field seems to affect the left-handed hitters more so than anything. It's really that 4-hole. Yeah, I like the idea of creating that opening. You know, that second baseman with a man at first base, you feel like you want to creep over and play your first baseman where you normally would and put the second baseman in the 4-hole. You can't because you got to turn a double play. So that hole is going to stay open. It will remain open. I think it's going to create an advantage for a left-handed hitter. Us having a lot of them, I think it's going to create another advantage for our team.
Do you think, given how many athletic outfielders you have, do you see some scenarios where you could maybe kind of reposition your outfielders to, I don't want to say game the system, but, you know, sort of get around some of the shift restrictions?
Yes, we have. We certainly have. We've been having those conversations. So I don't want to put anybody in a situation where they're going to make a fool of themselves. But yeah, we feel like we can maybe circumvent the system and the process a little bit to get an out where you might be getting a base hit otherwise. I don't know yet. We've thrown so much out there in some discussions, so I don't know what works and what doesn't work. Do you remember way back when they took the third to first move away? The whole spring training, the team I was with, we talked about, well, we're going to still pick to third, but we're going to throw to the third baseman who's going to throw to second. And nobody ever did it one time. We practiced it for 10 hours in spring training. So I don't know where it takes us, but we're trying to throw everything at the wall right now. Yeah, I think, shorten up that right fielder. Tuck him in there into that 4-hole. Manny Machado style. Manny plays a short right field sometimes, right? So I don't know. We'll see. I'm not well read on who's been posted and who has the potential to come over. So I don't know enough about it to make any comments, which I apologize for. Boring, huh? Yeah.